This episode is brought to you by 180 Markets, where it is our goal to bring every individual, fund manager, family office, or any qualified investor access to Australian Stock Exchange capital raises. If you are ever interested in how to access ASX capital raises in a super simple way, 180 Markets is for you. The sign-up process is easy. You just upload your ID, proof of your investor status, and your current brokerage account information. The settlement of shares goes right into your existing account, and you can access our very next capital raise. If you're interested in free, easy access to thousands of ASX capital raises, including placements, IPOs, reverse takeovers, and more, check out 180markets.com.au. Hello, investors. Welcome. Yet another edition of 18 Minutes with 180 Markets. Gold. There are obviously so many companies invested in gold on the ASX, but some companies are more special than others. They have huge exploration upside and also near-term potential as well. And that's what we have on store for you today with Star Minerals, an upcoming initial public offering led by Managing Director Greg Almond. And Greg is going to talk all about their portfolio, its flagship Tumble Gum South project, as well as all their exploration upside in the West Bria. And with that introduction, Greg, welcome to 18 Minutes with 180 Markets.
Thanks, Greg. Very glowing recommendation from you at the start. It's a nice intro.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, Greg, can you just tell us in a couple of minutes about yourself?
Sure. Look, my background is pretty purely in technical and operational roles. I've been in the mining space for 20 years, nearly all of those roles as a mine geologist, working on both open pit and underground sites. Most of my time has been here in Australia, with some stints overseas as well. Bit of time in India, bit of time in China, a little bit of time back in the coal mines in New Zealand, but most of my time has been here in Australia, working gold, copper, nickel, iron ore, and coal, like I mentioned. So yeah, very, very much have been an operationally and technically focused person. The last few years I was with Fortescue in a business development role. So taking a slightly wider view of things and looking at a whole range of projects around the world. So that's me.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, Greg, obviously this is a real jump from a mega cap Fortescue to the smaller end of town. What drew you to Tumble Gum South to West Bria? What is it? Because obviously you've seen a lot around, and I'm sure you would have had your pick.
Yeah, look, but part of it is exactly that. There is such a huge difference between the multi-billion cap miners and the small end of town. You're much more a master of your own destiny with a company like this. You can have a lot more of an influence, positively, move things the way you'd like them to be done. The attraction with Tumble Gum South and Star Minerals is kind of the wider group of companies. Star Minerals is being spun out of Bria Resources, which itself was spun out of Australian Vanadium. And we all still share the office. This nice boardroom here, I couldn't afford that on my own, that's for sure. That's because we sort of, share office space and resources with AVL and Bria. So being able to work with those guys is a big attraction of this. All the companies kind of, work closely together, and it's good both from a practical point of view. It makes it easier to support infrastructure and drill programs and everything else. We've got more people available than any single company would. And there's always the resource of more people around and people to bounce ideas from and share ideas with.
Excellent, excellent. And then, diving into Tumble Gum South, could you just tell us about the project?
Sure. Tumble Gum South is a gold resource. It was originally part of the AVL tenure. Bria Resources then picked up the cudgels and worked away on that. It's a 60,000 tonne resource containing around 44,000 ounces, pretty much from surface. It's not the biggest deposit in the world, but I suppose the main point of difference, for us compared to a lot of the other gold companies that have just listed or looking to list on the ASX is it is a resource. It's been drilled out. It's had 49 RC holes through it. We've late last year completed 3 diamond drill holes through it. It's had, proper estimation done on it. We know what's in the ground there. Currently, it's an inferred resource, and post-listing, basically, our first plan is to get the drill rig back up there, upgrade that resource into measured or indicated, and then do the necessary work to turn it into a reserve and start planning for how we're going to mine it and monetize that.
Yeah, and Greg, would you expect that then from a timing point of view, let's just say over the next 6 months, is that what investors should be looking for?
Absolutely. Look, we'll be intending to get the drill rig on site pretty much as soon as we close the IPO. We've been fortunate, like I said, because we're part of the wider company, plus some relationships that I've already had. We've got a number of partners that can help out with this sort of thing. So we've got a drill rig ready to go. We've got environmental people that have already started doing the assessment work we'll need for the approvals process. We've got people we can use for the engineering studies. We're fortunate that we've got kind of that wide network that we can leverage off and get things turned around quickly.
Yeah, and if we can just get into that point for a second, obviously being part of the overall AVL network, as you said, are you noticing a scarcity of ability to get talent to sites, get lab results, and all the various services that go into mining?
Look, it has been mentioned. I was at Diggers and Dealers in Kalgoorlie a few weeks back, and it was one of the conversations that came up a lot there. Drill rigs are, rare as hen's teeth, and getting access to space and assay labs as well is very tight. So it has been talked about. And, like I have said, it's part of the advantage we've got of kind of leveraging off those relationships with the bigger group. These guys have already been working with partners. They've already got places that, we can put our samples. So we're fortunate in that respect that we've got those relationships to leverage off.
Excellent, excellent. And then turning out to the West Bria, the big exploration upside. Can you just discuss that for us?
Sure. The Bria Basin basically is, a large area on the sort of the edge of the Croton of the Yilgarn, and probably the most exciting thing for us in our exploration package there, we've got 349 square Ks and around 45 kilometres of strike of the Narracuda Formation. The Narracuda Formation has obviously been fairly prominent with the success of Sandfire with DeGrussa and Monty. So it's a very prospective unit for copper and gold. So that's why we're very excited with that patch of ground that we've got up there. Historically, that area's had a lot of success right back to historical gold rush days. Peak Hill was one of the richest alluvial mines in Australia. So the area's got great heritage. It also has quite deep alluvial cover over quite a bit of it. So much of it hasn't really been touched, sort of in the last couple of decades only has the effort sort of gone back up there to get through that alluvial cover and find out what's going on.
Yeah, and also I suppose because of your background really being in the execution side of it, do you feel that going back into this area with modern equipment is a huge advantage today?
Massive advantage, yeah. We'll be able to target things a lot better because we'll have better geophysical techniques. We'll be able to do better geochemistry work. I mean, 10, 20 years ago, they were very limited on what they would, spend the money on to do an assay. So even some of the areas we've got in our tenure that have been drilled, it may have been drilled for uranium or iron ore. So even if it's been drilled and assayed, it may not have been assayed for anything else. So basically, we can do everything in a much more cost-effective and a lot quicker as well than the old timers. So yeah, we're really looking forward to getting in there.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And speaking of getting in there, about, when should we expect to see some type of results out of this area?
We're trying to be very measured with our approach, especially in the first sort of 6 months. Most of our efforts will go into Tumble Gum South to turn that around as quickly as we can. The intention for the company is basically that Tumble Gum South will get into production as fast as humanly possible, and then we'll use the rewards from that basically as a war chest that's going to be used for the West Briar. So we'll be fairly deliberate in our strategy for the first 6 months to a year with the West Briar. We've got a number of targets to follow up straight away, so there will be some soil sampling and probably some air core quite quickly inside that first 6 months. Once we've identified more targets and have got some follow-up areas to go to, then we'll start, into more air core and probably some RC.
Yeah, so it sounds like a very conservative money management strategy, looking after shareholder value, as far as to, as you said, build up that war chest, get the cash flowing from Tumble Gum, and then, you go for your big upside.
That's exactly right. We want to be responsible and do things properly. So, look, it's exploration. Things may change. If something happens, obviously I reserve the right to change my mind. But the way that we've got it planned out at the moment is being very sensible and very deliberate.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, Greg, it sounds like a great story. Do you have any closing remarks for the audience, please?
Oh, look, all I'd say is if anyone wants to know more, starminerals.com.au sets out, our whole strategy and what we're intending to do. Gives some really good background information on myself and the other people on the board and on the projects we've got. And obviously, it's also got links to the prospectus for our IPO, which is currently live.
Yeah, and I do have one question on that. What is the timing approximately on that?
Look, we've probably got it open for another 4 to 6 weeks. We had a priority offer go out to AVL and Briar shareholders, and they've responded very well. So we've got quite a bit of interest out there, and it's things are going great.
Great. So then it would bring our timing to estimation listing sometime around October, I suppose.
Yeah, look, we were sort of hoping for late September, but the ASX is very busy. We've got a lot of people out there chasing resources. So yeah, we're hoping to sneak our way, to the front of that queue, but most likely it'll be early October.
Well, we're looking forward to it. We can certainly wait because it's going to be worth the upside. Greg, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching another presentation by 180 Markets. Don't forget, if you want access to thousands of ASX capital raises, head on over to 180markets.com.au, sign up, and get on board for our very next capital raise. Thanks for watching.